ladies and gentlemen, to the BFNL Netball Show for another week. Great to be joining you once again to talk everything netball in the BGT A Grade competition in the Ballarat Football and Netball League. I'm Sean Kelly. Joining me as always, Kim Bailey. Kimmy, welcome to the Netball Show.
Thanks, Sean. Great to be back.
Also getting some good feedback as well throughout the week, so things coming along quite nicely from a netball front so far.
Yeah, it's been a good start to the season. Looks like it's been a pretty even start, really. Some of the teams that struggled last year have been having some wins and some good performances. So,
they have.
It's lovely to see those teams stepping up.
Yeah, it is indeed.
Let's hope they can keep it up for the rest of the season.
And speaking of that, that leads us into our first talking point for the week. Sunbury and Darley, looking at the results from the week before, a lot of people lay down your glasses for Sunbury, but Darley really took it up to them. It was their first loss for the season. They've had obviously 2 wins in the bye before that, so they're sitting on top of the ladder, but really good result for Darley, 38 to 41 against Sunbury. Good to see Sunbury still being able to win the game, but I reckon that's a really pleasing result for the Devils as well.
Yeah, they'd be really, really happy with that. They're such a young team still, and Courtney Barnes shot 15 from 17, so 89% and was in their best players. So did a really good job and were supported by Erica Schipper, I think her name is, in goalkeeper. Had a really good game apparently. So they were on the march. So the Devils had a really good game.
That being said, take nothing away from Sunbury, got the job done once again, and I believe had a bit of an injury scare early on in the game as well.
Yeah, Amanda Cusack in the first quarter injured her shoulder, and she was shooting, I think, at 7 from 8 at that stage, and off she went.
Going along pretty nicely.
Yeah, I think she might have had a little bit of a nick in the shoulder, so went off to hospital, but luckily everything's okay. There's no dislocations or breaks, and knowing Amanda, she'll be back taped up shooting this week. But they introduced Catherine Williams this week, 36 from 34 at 67%. So
needs to work on it a little bit, but encouraging start.
Yeah, so I haven't had a look. I might pop down. They're up in Ballarat this week.
They are.
But I'll have a look and see what she's like and what the combination's like with Beck Anstey, who had another good game. And Kate Begley had a really good game at wing attack and went into goals for a little while. So, but you think the Devils will be pretty happy with that result.
You'd think they definitely would be going along quite nicely at the moment. Talking point number 2, we're going to shift the focus to the junior side of the league for a second, because junior representative netball has kicked off in the Ballarat Football Netball League, and the B&A tournament on the weekend held at Lambera Stadium. Some really, really good results for the BFL's junior teams, with the 15 under team and the 17 and under team taking out the tournaments. Yeah,
really, really pleasing result. We took a little bit of a different structure this year into our juniors, where we selected the teams late last year. So they've been working with their coaches from December, and they've been playing since January in the Bar and Junior Champs. So really experienced little teams.
Yep.
The under 13s, coached by Deb Hutchison, who wasn't there. So I'd like to thank John Seagrave this week for stepping in.
Well done, Johnny.
Did a great job. They made the semis, so that was a really good result. Our under 15, who are coached by Prue Douglas, they had an absolutely cracking game against one of the powerhouses in country netball, the Echuca Netball Association, getting a 1-goal victory.
Beautiful.
To win. And our under 17 team, which a lot of those girls still play 19s as well.
Yep.
So you might see them on a Saturday. They had a great victory over the B&A by 4 goals. So really, really good result. Gets us in good stead to take on the RDFL in the Woodgrove Cup.
Yep.
And
that wouldn't be too far away, would it?
No, I think that is I'm trying to think what date that is. It's the day before Association Champs, so it's the 28th.
28th, the week after Senior League.
Yeah, and then so they'll play that on the Saturday up at Ballarat against the RDFL, and then they'll go to the Association Championships, which are played in Ballarat this year at Lambera.
Handy.
So hopefully with that good start by the 15s and the 17s in particular, we'll get some victories there and head over on the 26th of June to the grand final for Association Champs. That's our aim.
Beautiful work by our junior interleague sides. Talking point number 3 as we switch gears back into the A-grade competition, and we spoke last week about the Lake Wendouree and Ballarat game, and we gave Ballarat a bit of a sniff, and the Lakers just kind of turned around and said, don't forget about us when you're talking about these good teams in the league, because not only did they take everything that Ballarat could throw at them last week, they answered it, they kept going, and they went over the top of them and defeated them pretty handsomely.
I don't know if you'd say handsomely.
10 goals is 10 goals.
10 goals is 10 goals, but still not an emphatic win, I would say. Especially when you had Kelly Moran out of the side. She's that big, tall target that they really need. So
on the flip side, Mel Allen not playing in the Lake Wendouree side as well, so it balances it out quite nicely. Of course, wedding last weekend took out quite a few of our Ballarat Football League players over the weekend, which I didn't see going in. And
how dare someone get married and interrupt?
And thanks to Romsey for not tipping me off and making me look silly before the weekend as well. She actually apologised for that over the weekend, so thanks for nothing there, Roms. But really good to see kind of both sides up and about, and the Lakers kind of making a bit of a statement.
Yeah, I still think that Ballarat are contenders up there, but that just shows you how important Kelly Moran is to them.
It does.
To tell you the truth, when they're shot, Jamie Palmer 16 from 22, so 73%. So that's not a bad effort.
Yep.
That's pretty good. And when you look at Lakers percentages, Steph Burns was 22 from 36 at 62%, and Callie Berry at 8 from 14 at 58. So their percentages were down.
Yep.
If they had shot more accurately, it would have been a bigger victory. But still a good win. And you just look at the engine room for Lakers. What an engine room that is. You've got Katie Williams, Kirsty Walsh, Molly Boyle and Cara Hart. That's most probably be nearly the strongest mid-court in the whole competition.
That's almost your RVNL starting mid-court as well.
That's an awesome
it has been
combination.
over the last 4 years, the competition. They've all been in that mix, so going very, very nicely indeed. Time to have a look, Kimmy, at round 4 this weekend in the BGT A Grade netball competition, starting with probably the match of the round, straight off the bat, down at Alfred and Oval this week, Ballarat taking on Sunbury. This will be a ripper, and I think it'll tell us a lot more about where both these sides are headed for this season.
Yeah, I think Sunbury have been a little bit inconsistent with their wins. We're used to seeing them winning by big margins, and that hasn't happened. And they've had that instability in their goaling lineup. I hear they've got another goaler coming in. I don't know who that is.
Interesting.
And we'll see. I'm not quite sure if Kate will come back and play. I'm not sure what's...
Kelly
Moran. Sorry. No, not Kelly Moran.
Kate Begley, sorry.
Williams.
Williams.
Kate Williams, yeah.
Going through all sorts of names here. Just the brain's spinning.
Too many.
Too many.
So I'm not sure if she's a permanent player or not. Apparently I've heard some really good things about her though, and she might be what they're looking for. Whether Amanda Cusack plays this week, I'm not sure if she'll respond back from her injury, but I expect she would. But I think Ballarat, they're a club that's having a good crack at it. And if Kelly's back, and I think they might be too strong for Sunbury.
Yeah, I'm going to give Ballarat one more shot as well. Chance up against Sunbury to make a bit of a mark this weekend, and I suppose rebound after last week against the Lakers, and I think they can get the job done at home this weekend. Another good test for the Darley Devils this weekend as they are at home at Darley Park taking on Lake Wendouree, who, as we know, reminded us last week that they should not be left out of any conversation about contending sides this year, and they'll be full of confidence heading down the highway this weekend.
Yeah, I think Darley is starting to come up against some of the big ones now, and unfortunately I think they might get a little bit of a touch-up this week by Lakers, especially if they'll have Mel Allen back as well.
Yep.
I think they'll just be too strong, and it's most probably experience, like some of those girls, like Courtney, she's still such a young girl, and Tara, they're young, but they've got Bree
Rosato there,
down in defence, who's really adds some strength down there. But I just don't think that they'll be able to stop Lake Wendouree. Not quite sure if Sasha McDonald's going to come back and play for Lakers. I haven't heard anything.
Don't think so. I think her and Laura are more concentrating on playing at home this year, and obviously it's a VNL weekend this weekend as well, so that complicates things. It
does. That weakens them a little bit, but their goalers are, that means they just have to step up, and hopefully they will. Lakers.
Yeah, Lakers for me as well. Redan taking on East Point. Redan getting their first victory for the season last weekend after a couple of pretty good games before that. And had a little bit of a look at Redan, and very competitive in their first two games against Lakers and North City. Got the win that they needed to last week, and they'll take a bit of confidence into a game against East Point this weekend, who did a nice number on Bacchus Marsh on the weekend. Yeah,
they're a pretty strong team. We spoke about East Point before. I like them. I think they'll be right up there. Redan's still finding their feet. They've got they'll have a couple of girls out. Have a girl out this week. Tash Jack won't play with VNL commitment. So I think East might rebound back big time again.
Yeah, East for mine as well in this one. Interesting game at the Melton Rec Reserve this week. Melton South take on Bacchus Marsh, and a real chance for Bacchus Marsh to do something that they haven't done since 2014 and get an A-grade win this weekend. Yeah,
I think they will too. Mountain South, again, lots of young kids in there, just rebuilding phase. I don't think they'll be able to get over Bacchus Marsh. They're very experienced as well.
Yep.
So Bacchus, Bernie might even play A grade.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? So, but I think Bacchus will get a comfortable win.
Yeah, Bacchus Marsh as well. Will be great to see the Cobras hopefully get that victory that they haven't had since 2014. And the last game for the weekend on Sunday, North City take on the family club Sebastopol, and had a look at Sebastopol in the first quarter last week, and they were pretty good in the first quarter against an admittedly understrength Melton side. But the one thing that caught my eye last week, no Georgia Can in the side last week, no Adriana Can, both at the wedding down at the family club this weekend, but the goal attack last week looked very, very familiar, and I think I'd seen her somewhere before, and I think the last time I saw her was actually Henderson Medal Night in 2014 when she was up on stage receiving the Sally McLean Trophy as the league's best player, Emma Ryan, playing for Sebastopol last week in goal attack. Playing a quite interesting game as well, because obviously I've heard a whisper that she might still be around this weekend as well and might slip back into defence this weekend.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Whether it comes off, I'm not quite sure. She's heading overseas, and I think she's here for the last week. So, it'd be interesting to see if she does play. She's obviously strengthened that Sebas lineup with Adriana and Georgia out of the team last week.
Yep.
I think she might have shot, I think it was 14 for 15 goals. They had a 23-goal first quarter last week. So
it was all over at quarter time.
Yeah, so doesn't matter what position she plays on the court. She's just such an added bonus to have out there. And if she will help in defence with her and Rhiannon Banner should combine really well. However, I just think that North City is going to be far too strong everywhere all over the court.
Yeah, North
such a good
City,
combination.
very, very strong side. They had the week last week where they had the bye as well, so they'll be a bit refreshed and up to go. Or did they have the bye last week, or did they?
No, next week they've got
Next
the
week
bye.
they've got the bye. I was looking at the wrong weeks in the fixture, but going very nicely at the moment. Of course, the game being played on Mother's Day, so we send a happy Mother's Day out to all of the mothers within our netball ranks that do such a fantastic job at keeping the competition going, yourself included, Kimmy. Happy Mother's Day for Sunday.
Thank you, and remember it is Women's Appreciation Week in the BFL this week.
It is indeed.
So just congratulating all those women who are involved in sport, in football and netball, and there will be cans around the collection tins around the ground, so please donate to the Breast Cancer Foundation.
Actually supporting Support for Cancer this weekend, which is a
Cancer,
local organisation run by Colleen Thompson, who most people in netball, especially in the junior ranks, know with the Lake Wendouree Netball Club, and they support all cancer, not just breast cancer, so it's a fantastic...
My era.
Yep, fantastic charity to get involved with. There'll be some collection tins at the canteens and with the gatekeepers this weekend, so if you've got any spare change or some notes or anything like that, please dig deep and help them out this week. A fantastic cause and a fantastic local Ballarat cause.
Yeah, and as I said, we're really celebrating the input of women this week in the BFL. So, yeah, happy Mother's Day to everybody out there.
That's all we've got time for this week on the BFNL Netball Show. Thanks for joining us once again, and we'll see you once again next week right here on the BFL website.